Where did I leave off? Oh, shit. That was really good shit, too. Okay, so I'm going to break it down real quick. Stu Webb, his stuff, because of omissions, as in stating that there were no Kimballs involved, I've had kind of vigilante-style shadow warriors of the resistance coming at me. Yeah, that's what I can call them. And I do mean that with respect, because I'm sure a lot of them felt that they were doing some good. Just misdirected. Kind of like in this Batman cartoon I just watched yesterday, where he had to roll into town. All these little guys, they were playing Batman, and he had to round them up and say, hey, now you guys got to work for me, and we got to do this, and we got to rebuild society, because this nuclear bomb just went off. So in some ways, I'm kind of like Batman. Oh, God. I better not go into all of these other areas, because then I can get into some deep conspiracies here, there, everywhere, connected to this, that, and the other thing, into the subconscious nature versus nurture, social programming, mass programming, blah, 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 blah. Hey, anybody familiar with Kubark out there? It's kind of an old program. It's about as old as Third Chance, but it's pretty effective for screwing somebody's life up. So, Stu Webb's Kimball Castle story and all that, connecting me to some satanic crime family or whatever. Wow. Guilt by association games. And then you got Jordon Maxwell. He's doing all these things all over the place. He even admits that there's people that are born like me. He says, he calls it divine right to rule. He says they do exist. They think they are in control of this, that, and the other thing, and they're bad, they're evil, they're reptilian. Well, maybe some of them are. Maybe the ones that you guys have allowed to control things. Did you guys know that you have a say in all this? Yeah, you guys have a say in all this. It's kind of a complex thing to explain, but you have a say in this. And how I've been fucked with and all that, and then ignored, even after showing all this proof, it kind of shows how much people are yearning, and they know there's something there that they don't know, but then all of a sudden they're willing to believe whoever tells them a good story, like Duncan O'Finney. There's one that admits to being one of these vigilante types that I've talked about. He ever comes to my door playing vigilante, super secret shadow warrior or something, I won't hold back with motherfuckers like him. Now, a local boy that's been fed a bunch of lies and he's coming at me, I gotta maneuver, I gotta sidestep, I gotta take a blow here and there because I know them, I know their family, I gotta deal with this, do like I said I would. I won't kill my own. My ancestors wouldn't kill their own, so why the fuck should I start? That's the problem here. We don't kill our own. You guys do. Doesn't mean we can't. Doesn't mean I won't. At this point, this stuff's gone on for eons. This stuff's what sank Atlantis. I remember that. I mean, not all clearly, and oh yes, on the date 55/22/43 BC. Who knows, maybe that's the actual date. What would that be, 50,000 years ago or something? 60,000 years ago? We had to pull it. See, in 98, the World Trade Organization was developed sometime around there, a couple years before that, actually. See, 18 years ago. Yeah, it fits in the time frame for the development of certain things that are collapsing right now. Just like I said, you guys stole my stuff, now I'm going to destroy whatever you built with it. My grandfather held a pretty, I guess, influential position, yet not very rich in materials and monetary status. That's kind of one of the things about us is you would think King Arthur would live in the most lavish of palaces and all that other stuff. My genetics basically, or my nature, see, I don't know if it's genetics or my nature or what, I don't say my nurture, because actually the nurture has just forced me to be more myself in the face of just about any adversity. My nature is kind of like, if the people are doing good, then I'm doing good. If they're doing bad, then should I take more from them and make their lives harder? Because in the long run, that'll make my life harder. And then I can't do what I have to do. Because, oh, you think this is easy? Oh, you guys have no concept of empathic and emoting stuff at these levels, do you? I might not feel the screams of people on the other side of the planet, but how many of you feel what God feels? Have you ever tasted what God feels? Because a lot of people out there talk about being empaths, but how many have touched that with their heart? Just thinking about it makes me sometimes get choked up. So, it's not really a problem I have with these guys, Maxwell, Icke, and Webb, but I do have to question them, their integrity or their agenda. Why are they doing certain things, saying certain things, and neglecting certain things? Does he know which side he's sold out to? He might think they're the winning side because of the power that they've shown, but their power is but a, as you probably could see. I hate sounding like this, but hey, why shouldn't I just put it out there for what it is? Every time, every single time. I mean, when I was really getting attacked and stuff, the lake here dried up. It didn't rain hardly for a couple of years. They'd piss me off. It'd be a cloudy day, it'd start raining, and then all of a sudden the clouds would go away. Yes, so talk about some energy move. And I'm sitting there going, well, you know what I think it is? I think it's because I got pissed off and a bunch of angels showed up and displaced the clouds because they wanted to make sure I was going to be alright. So, when Maxwell talks about being protected by the Council of 33, he also knows that there's always something that is a counter to something, or larger than something that keeps that something in order. Above that's what a Council of 13. So what would be above the Council of 13? Would that be 45? I don't know, I was just doing some weird math in my head. No, what does 45 mean? It means 9. What does 9 mean? 9 means a 9 Akbal. What's 9 Akbal? Oh, Joel, that's your Mayan astrology sign. What does that mean? That means exactly what you're doing. Is it all that simple? Well, fuck, I could have gotten started 20 years ago. Instead, I had to fuck around with all this stuff. I hope it was so that I'd mature. Not you guys, because you guys were supposed to already be mature. I mean, you guys were all adults when I was just growing hair on my sacks. Oh, sorry. I guess a king like a Pendragon or King Arthur's not supposed to say hair on his sacks. I could go into all the military weirdness that's gone on in my life. The way I figure it is, since I haven't really ever stopped doing what I do across the board, I'd be over 35 plus years, and the research that I've gone into, looking into Admiral Farragut, Admiral Farragut, the youngest naval, the youngest person to ever served in our armed forces and our Navy. He started at the ripe old age of 9 years old. By the time he was 13, he was, what do they call it, a booty master? Oh, a bounty master. And he was a treasure master. He'd sail the captured ships into a friendly harbor and inventory all the captured items. He was also a POW. Yeah. Also, the founder of SEAL Team 6, the famed Commander Richard Marchenko, he went to the Farragut Naval Academy. What does that have to do with me? Well, see, in all actuality, technically speaking, Admiral Farragut's the second youngest. But why would they do that? Well, just like Jordon Maxwell says a lot, some people are just born way beyond what other people are born like. It doesn't mean we're beyond everybody all the time or whatever. There's certain things we have almost a magical knack for. Like, we don't even have to really try much. We just have to be ourselves. It's our nature. So if you nurture the nature properly, you get what you need out of that nature. But if you want to keep putting oil in it and trying to put your nuclear waste underneath the foundation of your home, what are you going to get from that nature? They wanted to weaponize me and use me as a military weapon and try to keep all this other royal stuff a secret because, well, for one, I'm sure some people got a hard on having somebody like me that they could order around. You know how some people are. I mean, think about it. If you got to order Prince William or Prince Henry around and kick them around and tell them they were nothing and blah blah, there's some people that would really get off on that. I mean, maybe they deserve it, I don't know, but I know for a fact I didn't deserve it. Because I was actually a pretty decent kid. I mean, I had my little problems here and there, but considering what I had to deal with, yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I wasn't that bad of a kid. Except when I lied to my mom or things like that, What? So, I said a lot in 15 minutes, didn't I? So where does David Icke fit in this? Well, he's closely tied to Jordon Maxwell. Where does Webb fit in this? Well, I mentioned Kimball Castle already. Did I also mention that I've tried to contact him several times to discuss Kimball Castle with him and also ask him to say, hey, this guy Joel, he has nothing to do with this. As far as I know, there's no Kimballs involved. So how long would that take? 2 seconds? And you wouldn't even have to say me, particularly. Just that tweet got the name Kimball from a prior marriage. You see? How hard is that? Unless there's another reason, and that's something he can't go back on because it'll unravel the rest of their crap. Oh, what would that have to do with you or anything else? Well, because they like playing these word games and these bloodline games. Well, Google Don Webb, head of the Temple is Set. Now go look at the dedication stone at the Denver airport. Now go ask Stu Webb how closely related he is to those two names. Then ask yourselves, who should you be looking at in a suspect type of way? Oh, Some people say it sounds like English is your second language. Well, no, it's not. Just I might speak many different English dialects. Sometimes I slip from one to another. Right now, this is probably the one that I learned before the age of 3.5. Why am I saying that? Well, because I lived in Tennessee when I was a little boy. It's where I drank hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, that's a really caustic substance. How did you survive? Well, I don't know. Could be some of that super blood. I don't know. You guys seem to think there's something special about these bloodlines and these Enkidu's and Enlils and Gilgameshes and stuff like that. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe I'm just a freak of nature. Yeah, that's what it was. Back then they used that to strip up linoleum floors. That's how I got a hold of it. It was in a V8 juice container, and I liked V8 juice, so I drank it, and then I puked it up, which is really another big no-no. So somewhere, but that could make sense because I'm Pendragon, right? Dang rollies. By the way, Pendragon's kind of a misnomer. It's a title bestowed by the Catholic Church. Oh, when was it? Probably somewhere around 1700 years ago. What it meant was head of the dragons, the wisest of the dragons, and what that meant was of the kings. It meant the head king of all the kings that were in treaty with Rome, because they were fuck nuts, and they'd keep fucking with you until you agreed to be nice to them when they were the ones fucking with you. And then after you agreed to be nice with them, it all went kind of smooth, but they'd always be machinating behind the scenes and all this other crap. And they do to this day. They fuck with you. And then they want to sign a treaty with you when you start fucking them back. And then they start playing victim. Oh, don't hurt. And then they come at, and it's like, and then you stop. And they, don't hurt. And then you stop. It's like, alright, leave us alone. But until you get there and you sign off on some fucked up piece of paper that they think is important, they don't leave you alone. And then they establish the importance by doing that, because then you get it in your head like, oh, the way these people understand is if I write it out on this document. Okay. But if they go back on that, what recourse do we have? Well, okay, we'll just kick their asses. But over time, they end up taking over your resources and make it to where you can't kick their asses, because you're too busy trying to keep your people alive. And then, when you do decide you don't want it anymore, and you're tired of their priests raping your kids and fucking your whole country off, and you kick them out, they whine, they cry victim, and all this other stuff, because you just whooped their ass. And then they call you uncivilized, because, well, we could have worked it out and wrote another treaty. Like, yeah, just like the last 20 you broke. Ask a Native American what he thinks about those fucked up treaties. None of those treaties were really American treaties. Those were all fucking Vatican, Rome, manipulated bullshit fucking crap. His tail's wagging. He's like, you're really going. And that's what it all amounts to. If you really take a look at the Indian Wars and all that, you will see that it was a product of the newspapers and Vatican, Roman Catholic, whatever you want to call them, Illuminati, I don't care, Jesuit bullshit motherfuckers. They've done it on every continent, to every culture, to everyone. So, you guys want to find your reptiles and your bad guys? Let's find out who's Opus Dei. Really connected to Knights of Malta and and isolate them. Don't let them be involved in certain things, and see how that works. They did that to everybody else, right? Oh, except for the Satanists in the 70s. Oh, really smart during the 90s. Yeah, we're going to keep Satanists and Serbians, but we're going to kick out any of the Croats because they might be a problem. So yeah, we have a case of mistaken identity in a few cases here. People mixing me up for other people. And there's only one way that could have happened to this extent. And that would mean that some people in the conspiracy circles did do it knowingly, helping out somebody somewhere else. More than likely Dick Cheney or somebody else. And if that's the case, I can understand why Jordon Maxwell would think that they were in complete control. They've only had power for 40, 50 years or something. They don't even... They're limp. I'll stop Cheney in his tracks. I have. Come visit. Man, you should have seen this place 10 years ago. It was fucking heartbreaking, man. Oh, fuck. There wasn't even ants crawling on the counter. You'd leave a pile of sugar and there wouldn't be an ant there in the summertime. Now, doesn't that tell you something's fucking wrong? Something's going on with the life force energy? Oh, yeah, and then the bees end up missing. Remember when all that happened? So when I hear these guys telling their stories and their exploits and their close calls, it's like, yeah, I understand that. But just because mine is so outrageous or extreme in certain areas, it doesn't mean I'm going to discount what you got to share or say. And I'd rather listen to what you got to share and say. I already know the shit I've been through, the shit I've seen. I know what happens in everyday life, at least for me. And I always look forward to the next day in life. So I should probably pause this because my dog is really interested in something. Like, it's really important, so I better find out what it is, huh? See, that's also why sometimes I'm careful about singing a song, a prayer song. See, a lot of this stuff they've tested, they've researched, they've taken their notes on me. I knew they were. But at the same time, when some of these people were doing neurolinguistic crap to me, like, you're gonna die, you're gonna kill yourself, you're gonna die, you're gonna kill yourself. Imagine if you're around people and they do that every now and then, every chance they get. You know, just a small few people that are Jesuit trained. They call it a fundamental Christian training. Oh, but then they like giving that symbol. I don't understand what that is. Is that Zeus or something? Okay, well, fuck you, Zeus. Oh, but see, then there's that connection to Zeus through Aphrodite. Where's that? Or was that? Who was that? Poseidon? No, it wasn't Poseidon. See, nobody knows who the father of anybody is. It sounds like the gods of Olympus grew up in the 60s, doesn't it? See, when I look at some of this stuff, I see reflections and similarities to all this stuff having taken place a long time ago. As they say, history does repeat itself on some levels. As it says in your Bible, Zeus would be the bad guy in this because he's the one with the lightning, right? Interesting. Something I watched the other day kind of explained how Zeus was going around stealing all the Poseidon stuff, and Poseidon would just sit there and go, alright, fine, if you want it that bad, I'll just sail over here. I should find these Bible passages and run them down for you at some point. Because I understand what it's like when somebody starts rattling off little parts in the Bible and they don't give a specific chapter or verse, but you know it's there, and then you're like, oh my God, how am I going to find that? And then it's like, oh my God, that book's got so many this and so many that, and these, those, and that. So half the time when you listen to people talking about this stuff, you just kind of take their word for it. You take their definition for it and all that other stuff, because in one sense that's a good thing, because it shows that you trust people. You trust others. So that shows that you have some trust for yourself. But now comes the discernment phase. Are you willing to find out that your trust has been broken? Or that you broke it yourself because you didn't realize that maybe the person divulging that information didn't have a clear enough picture to divulge it in the way that they were divulging it. Therefore, they were a bit irresponsible. Sorry, Jordon Maxwell, but even at your age, you know it's possible to be irresponsible. For someone your age and of your stature. Huh. And look what I opened it up to. Then I saw standing in the very middle of the throne inside the circle of living creatures and the circle of elders, a lamb with the marks of slaughter upon him. He had 7 horns and 7 eyes. 2, 4. Well, I guess you could say I kind of have 7 eyes on my face now, huh? I don't know. I just, I wonder if those little spots, if that's what those are. No, those are those dissolvable implants coming out. And as you can see, that one's a little bit darker today, and it's probably because I have a little bit of a headache today from whatever it is leaving my skull cavity. The eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out over the world. And the Lamb went up and took the scroll from the right hand of the one who sat on the throne. When he took it, the 4 living creatures and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb of God. Each of the elders had a harp, and they held golden bowls full of incense, the prayers of God's people, and they were singing a new song. That's Revelations chapter 4. I used to quote that quite a bit when I'd be doing Native American stuff, just to show people how far God has traveled on the planet. Because in the Native teachings it talks about those 7 spirits sent into the different directions. 7 angels, 7 this, 7 that, all that, blah blah. What I was going into that I didn't record on this, because I forgot to click a button, was the number 9 Ockball, what that means in the Mayan astrology, what that means during these times in particular. So for me it's rather interesting, because while I notice it, I try not to really get too deep into what the astrology says about all this, but it all fits in the time frames and all that. It almost gives me a headache to try to, because it's so simple. It's like, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's what that is. The other part of what I think I was going into before, or maybe I just went into it. Maybe I should stop this and watch it and see what I left out. So basically, everybody's been listening to information that is stemmed from Stu Webb and David Icke and Jordon Maxwell areas of information and bodies of information. And then in the whole super soldier stuff, where you guys been going to for that, Stuart Swordlow and Preston Nichols and Duncan O'Finian and the worst of the bunch, Bill Brockbrader. See, I still don't know about Duncan O'Finian. There's an oddity about that one, but not odd enough for me to think that he's really anything more than what he says he is, which unfortunately doesn't put him that high up. I don't like saying that. He knows it. But, that means while he can perform certain functions that are above what most people do in certain areas, he's more relegated to a middle management kind of thing. That's just how civilizations work. I didn't put all these castes into place. You guys did. I didn't say these things about these guys. They did. They say they work for this group as assassin, blah, blah. Now they're working for this group, the third group. Oh, you're talking about the group that I was trying to pull together? Say, hey guys, wake the fuck up. You guys are falling for 2 illusions. Now you're falling for a third one. Oh my god. The 4th one and the 5th one. You see, and I can't pack everything into one little short video, so I hope people give me a bit of a break and realize that Jordon Maxwell is exactly what he says he is. No more, no less. I'm not faulting him for that. I'm just saying that he's kind of going along for a ride in some sense. He's letting people believe what they want to believe. He's not really into the game of correcting. He doesn't sound like he's divulging much anymore. A lot of it seems like they said, she said, this story, that story. A few little quotes from literary sources here and there, and it seems like a lot of it's just a lot of banter, just a lot of chit-chatting, which is alright. I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with is when people get fanatical about that stuff. And then they start treating me like a piece of crap. Oh, you're the grandson of a Templar. Oh, those evil people. Time out for a second. Actually, we're the good guys. Or at least I am. My grandfather. And, well, come on. You guys need to stop lumping everybody into one bad pile. Because to say a Templar is Illuminati, that's like saying Malcolm X was Ku Klux Klan. You kind of get where I'm coming from with this now? Even the Templars can be fooled, but you know, if you're up against Rome, I mean, that's a pretty, you know, if you fail or whatever against that, you should at least take solace that you were big enough to try. Yeah, I disrupt their whole paradigm of royalty and all this other stuff, empires and blah blah. I don't mind that. Because if just me being born causes them so many problems, what happens if I start talking? Oh, I did. I told them, I said, man, you guys keep doing this, and I gotta start getting loud. I will. Just, do you guys know what'll come out when I start getting loud? And is there anything you can do about it? No. What do you do against a guy that makes the rules kind of thing? Or carries the tablets of law? What was it? Zeus carried the tablets of destiny. Poseidon carries the tablets of law. What does the destiny fulfill when it's all said and done? Nothing else that it can fulfill but the law. Well, then Christ came and fulfilled the law. Therefore, Zeus ain't got shit. He ain't got a pot to piss in at the moment. Because that destiny was fulfilled. That sin brought about. Yeah, you guys want to talk about these old names and terms? Yeah. And I don't even study this stuff that much, but wow, it's interesting. Zeus's original name was kind of like sin. Oh, missed the mark. Lightning, yeah, you missed the mark with lightning. That got a lot of problems. Lucifer, Lightbringer. Oh. Does that mean Zeus isn't too cool of a guy? Or did he get a little stupid? Now I could boil this all down to also the Bible saying that it says there would be one uncorruptible seed or incorruptible seed. So you could say out of the gods, maybe Poseidon's was the only incorruptible one, because he had Atlas, and Atlas didn't turn against God. He sided with the gods, or God, angels, however you want to put it. We could banter on about these terms and these words forever, but why don't we just give it a shot to look at it for what it is and set aside those, well, it belongs to us. Well, it belongs to us. No, it belongs to us. Look, my gun's bigger. It belongs to us. And I'm sitting there going, so, no, I don't belong to you, motherfuckers. So you guys are saying slavery exists again. What happens when somebody shows up that can lay claim to certain titles and such? You guys can say that that person belongs to you? Or are you guys going to accept that you belong to that person? You can't have one without the other, right? They tried that, though. They tried to enslave me since I was a little boy. They tried to control me. They tried all that. They even tried getting me to believe that I was from some satanic bloodline or some crap like that, thanks to Aquino's bullshit. So if I seem a bit harsh with my verbiage, it's not always like this or as abrasive, unless I have a reason. Sometimes people don't seem to listen unless you're talking shit about them, and people are listening when you talk shit about them. I'm not really talking shit about them. It may sound like that to the fans or whatever, but maybe you guys need to be responsible fans and spur that guy you're listening to on to think more and to delve into what he thinks he knows more and pull out more of his insights if he's got that gift. Help him out. Don't just agree with him because he says he knows all this and you better just listen to him because he's the end all and be all, and you ain't ever going to hear it from anybody that knows more than he does because none of those others are going to step forward. Well, okay, maybe none of those bad ones will step forward, but if a good one steps forward, are you going to listen and say, hey, this is, well, I don't know because, well, I never slept in their bed. I don't eat in their kitchen, so I don't know that. But I know what comes out of there. I know what goes in there. So I can kind of think of what's going on with Preston Nichols and they're manipulating Kundalini energy of children. You know what I mean? It's just like the Catholic priests shuffling their priests around. Oh, here, we're just going to pay a couple million. Oh, here, oh, here. Oh, but why were they allowed to get away with that? Oh, it's called, Malta makes a great listening post. It's called The Vatican makes a great listening post for spy agencies. So whoever can cover up their dirty laundry the best gets that post. Kind of bullshit. People make dumbass decisions because of Cold Wars or because of other stuff. They make really dumbass decisions. But it's even more dumbass to not fix the problem once you find it. The spy that did the most damage to the United States intelligence community happened to be Opus Dei. The guy that caught him happened to be Opus Dei. Common Vatican tactic. You play the bad guy and you play the good guy. You catch the bad guy and, oh yeah, great hero, Opus Dei, yeah. You know. Oh, but he was Opus Dei too. Oh, but see how honorable he is to have caught his own kind? Yeah, it could be worked any number of ways, depending on how the press puts it out there, how the populace takes it. How many people talk about Robert Hansen and his association with the Catholic Church, or the person that was head of the FBI when they arrested him, Elliot Free? He was an Opus Dei member as well. Oh, where have we heard that before? Oh, the Da Vinci Code stories. Oh. And like you all say, they like telling you what they're doing as they're doing it, huh? So, yeah, I wanted to keep this short, so I'm going to stop that now, right here, because I'm just going to keep rambling and stating out little facts and little tidbits here and there. And like I said, I'm trying to keep this stuff a bit short, just so that I can get this stuff out there to spark some juices flowing. And then maybe you'll want to check out some of the other videos, or maybe you'll check out some of the naysayer videos that other people are posting up about Jordon Maxwell, or any number of people, just to give yourself a little bit of intellectual culture. Look at one side, look at the other side. Don't forget your side, because there's always a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh side. Just like Jordon Maxwell made a comment about, that's why there's courts. Where do you think they get these concepts? I've known that one my whole life. It's like, well, yeah, they got divorced, but you don't know the real reasons why, so maybe you need to just sit back and pay more attention before you start judging their divorce. You know, all on a number of things, but so yeah, basically that's part of why I'm doing this. Is, you know, it's not I've never been a us against them person, or I'm going to destroy your life person because you hurt me. It's not my nature, but it is my nature that if a problem continues to be a problem, to brush it aside. And I'm pretty adept at brushing things aside. And they don't stand back up. Energetically speaking. So, I hope this is taken for the way it's given and not distorted by people's preconceived notions and judgments, or their need to defend Jordon Maxwell, David Icke, or Webb, or any number of these people. Because I'm not attacking them. I'm just saying, hey, I think you guys missed something really damn important. And you guys have been overlooking it for, when did I really come public with this? August of 2008, I think it was. How ironic that it would be August. You see, a lot of this is about correcting what the evil ones have done. And what happened to Jordon Maxwell in 88, 89? It's weird. Same time Temple of Set did their big ceremony was August 8th of 88. So, yeah, I'm going to have to look at those dates on when I joined certain forums and stuff. See, and I do appreciate David Icke for providing that forum, because it gave me a place to start divulging this stuff. So it's not necessarily, you know, I want to destroy what they got going. It's, no, I prefer fixing the problems rather than just throwing the babies out with the bathwater. And when they can humble themselves enough to realize that there are some of us that are a little bit beyond them and are just born this way, and it's their arrogance that they may sense. So it's probably why they don't talk to me, is because they know they can't pull out their, I have more experience than you, and I'm older than you, and you need to humble yourself and stop being so arrogant and listen to me. They can't pull that card out with me. So, that's part of it, is they have no defenses as far as where I'm concerned. Nobody does in certain areas with me. And they know that, so they have to group up and protect whatever illusion they think they need to protect. And then over time they find out that all of the successes that they've had overcoming their illusions came from me injecting certain truths as they're being assholes to me or something, or just sitting there. And then over time people realize, that's where that came. How come I didn't? Maybe it wasn't time. I say something to somebody and then watch it a week later, a couple weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, a couple months even. And then they'll start almost verbatim telling me how they overcome this latest obstacle in their life. And I'm sitting there smiling, going, wow, that's some good insight. I don't have the heart to say, so where'd you learn that from? Who'd you hear that from? When'd you come up with that? Just to see if they tell the truth, or if they even remember. That's another funny little thing. It has to do with the energies of me not wanting to be put up on stage or in the forefront or looked at as any wise, special thing, because I can be a real fucking idiot. I really can. I could be just as much of an asshole, a stupid fool, just like the next guy. That's probably how I know so much. I made a lot of dumb mistakes. Thank God they were dumb mistakes and not thought out mistakes. It's when you think your mistakes out and then do it that you run into really big problems. So I kind of hope Jordon Maxwell watches this, maybe, if he can, because I don't like watching things that criticize me. I watched one, and this guy just flat out said, "This is to make fun of Morgan. You don't even know the Gaelic language. How can you call yourself a king of blah blah?" It's like, so I have to know a language that is hardly spoken anymore in order to be king of a people that don't even know who they are anymore? Okay, so maybe I need to go learn Sanskrit too, and a few other languages. Like, what did they speak in Turkey 5,000 years ago? Can you tell me what they spoke in Turkey 5,000 years ago? Do I need to go learn that language? You see, so anytime some of these people, they make these arguments to, "Oh, look, you fucking idiot." I'm like, oh, okay. How stupid am I? Let's see. Let's look at this. And then what ends up happening is because whatever, just because some people realize, yeah, that was a pretty stupid argument I was making. But they don't have the fortitude to admit it at times. If you can't admit whatever, that's fine. That's just a small little thing, and it's no biggie, so why should I make a stink out of it too? But then they think they get away with something, and then they come back, and then they go, "Oh, see, you're acting just like you did back then." Like, when, yeah, what was the answer I gave you to that back then? Did you ever give me any real rebuttal or whatever, other than just, "You're going to make fun of me? Okay, let me see you. Let's see how you speak and live. And take your shirt off. Let's see how your body looks." Maybe we could start there. And I'm way out of shape right now. So let's start judging each other on the things we can change. Oh, you can change that, but you've chosen not to. Why? If it's something you can change that would be a positive in your life, how come you haven't changed it? How come instead you want to feel, oh, it's a victim shield, that's it. That's why you like taking those psych meds and acting like a zombie, is because you get to use your victim shield. Oh, okay. Just using that as an example, because I don't want to go into anybody's weight issues. Like I said, if people want to attack other people, why don't you try starting with what they can change that you don't like? You don't like the fact that I make claims to my family titles and holdings and all that other stuff. What can I do about that? And then you base it all based on, I don't speak Gaelic. I never said I was the only one, for one. So if you think I'm being an elitist, whatever. And if you think, oh, well, we don't need those anymore, then okay, how come the Queen of England's still sitting over there? Why don't you just give me all my money and holdings, and we'll call it good, and you won't have a queen anymore, and then you guys don't have to deal with any monarchy that you say is so outdated. give me my shit. Oh, I own it. She said it herself. What, 50 some odd years ago, right? Her father even said it. They're related to me. That their divine right to rule is based on being related to me and my bloodline. So that would make me her, like, grandfather or something. Some weird, twisted... Wow. I guess if we were extinct, I would be, but I'm not, so... Tough shit, Queenie. And if you want to try to hold on to your titles by saying, oh yes, it could be a princess if you have a daughter, that's how scared they are. They're, like, willing to change these things just to keep it in their family. Well, good thing all that money's tied up in the Crown Incorporated Trust thing, huh? That way you can't just squander it all without some accounting of it. Oh, is that why her allowance got less? Anyways. So yeah, defamation of character campaign, assassination of character campaign, attempts to get me to commit suicide, attempts to basically off me through other means, and a few other things, yeah. Kind of solidified my right to claim these titles based on what was coming at me. Oh yeah, it's probably why it eased up a bit when she was put on kind of a lowered allowance, I guess. What was all that money that came to America in 2001? Was it $5 billion or something? I wonder what that was for. It was from the Queen or whatever. And you got the BP oil spill. There's just little things I wanted to throw out there before I finished for the night.